Well, welcome to this week's Bronco Classic football game as the International Falls Broncos take on the Two Harbors Agates in the 2004 Section 3A semifinals to be held at a very muddy, as you can see, and you will see more as the game goes along, rainy sports stadium as the Broncos, again, taking on the Two Harbors Agates. Tim Ringhofer joined by head coach Stuart Nordquist and George Frake. And guys, I remember this morning thinking, are we going to be able to play this game? Because it had rained all night, and it had rained during the week, but it had rained overnight. We got an additional 2 inches on top of a field that was already soaked, and I thought, we're never going to get to play this one.
Well, that Two Harbors field was never the best for water anyway, and they finally had to switch over to artificial turf, thank goodness, because when it rained on that Lake Superior shore, and I played in a game like that at UMD, it's miserable, and it's really pretty much unplayable. This one is a perfect example of that.
This game, though, I'll tell you, we sure seemed to have got the better. We had the better footing that day. It seemed like a little bit.
Yes, we did.
I don't know if it was all the short, choppy steps that we talked about.
Short,
choppy steps.
Yes, it is.
You can see that the Agates are getting ready to kick off here. Let's give you the starting lineup for the Broncos. Going across the front, starting at left end, number 89, Wes Olson. Starting at the left tackle, number 72, Roy Hendrickson. Number 64 at the guard, Tyler Spry. Number 74, Derek Clark is the center. Number 70 is the right guard, that's Ty Boyle. Number 52, Joe Veeder. And the tight end, number 80, Tim Mear. The quarterback, number 15, Tyler Koshik. And then your backfield, number 22, Jordan Headland. Number 44, Reggie Gilo. And number 32, Dean Kukon. So let's get this game underway. Again, section semifinals in 7-3A. Again, on a very muddy track at Sports Stadium right here in the Falls.
Yes, there's water standing all around the field.
Look at that.
And of course, the warm-ups had made it look a little muddy where everybody was warming up. And of course, it will continue to get worse as Reggie Gilo returns the opening kickoff. And Reggie and Ty had both been injured in Tuesday night's game with some ankle injuries and lots of TLC during the week. Got them ready for this game, and they were able to do the things that we needed to do. So first play from scrimmage here.
They were in the whirlpool a lot.
Yes, they were. And that is Reggie Gilo getting the first handoff of the game. Always liked when Coach called a play right up the middle for my linemen so that they could just fire off the football.
Time to get the game going.
Get the game going, get that first hit in. Now let's make sure we can do some fun things here. Unfortunately, Ty Boyle got a little excited. He wanted to show how fast he could run on that play. He looked pretty good.
Yeah.
So a 5-yard penalty against the Broncos.
Actually, the play was open too.
Yes, for sure.
Well, we'll run a play to set it up again. We'll come back to it.
Tough going up the middle, so third and
Was that
long
a jet
coming up.
sweep on that other play?
Jet sweep.
Jet sweep, yeah.
So third and long coming up here for the Broncos' third play of the game.
Now watch the great execution here by the guard, sealing him inside, Tyler Spry. Kick out block, another block.
And off to the races, number 22, Jordan Headland. And when I watched this the other day, I said, and nobody's going to catch him. No. And 34 gave it a valiant effort, but Jordan Headland, just a minute 46 into the first quarter, gives the Broncos a 6-0 lead.
And again, a 6-0 lead right away. Big to get on top of your opponent.
Yeah, it was against Christensen, the running back for Two Harbors. They had been, so I recall he was over the 2,000-yard barrier by the time he had gotten to this game. Maybe it was up to, I know he wears number 26, but it was close to like 2,600 yards as the 2-point conversion goes in on the quarterback sneak. And you could tell from the lens here on the camera, the raindrops as the game is being played. You can see the water on the far sideline, the lake that the Two Harbors Agates had to work around.
I take a look at this. You have 3 people rushing the whole game, including a quarterback.
Quarterback carries a lot. There's a reason for that. They were standing up in their line, and you get underneath it, and quarterback sneak is very effective.
Dean Kukon to kick it off here for the Broncos. From the far hash, trying to stay in a little drier area. Good job
Whoa.
of covering there on the... So here come the Two Harbors Agates in their double wing, tight shoe-to-shoe offense.
Good sized men, too.
Number 26
Yes, they are.
is
They're a big
Christensen
team.
on this side. He's the guy in motion. He gets the pitch. Picks up 5 yards. Go over the Bronco defense here for you. Starting at the far side on the defensive line, number 52, Joe Veter at the end. Number 70, Ty Boyle at the tackle. Number 60, Daryl Peralta is your nose guard. Number 64, Tyler Spry, the tackle on the near side. And number 80, Tim Mear, the end on this side. Your linebackers from left to right are going to be 32, Dean Kukon, 44, Reggie Gilo, and 89, Wes Olson. And then your secondary, the corner on the left-hand side, number 24, Zach Sears. Number 22, Jordan Headland, is the free safety. And 37, Nick Ruport, is the corner on this side of the field. So we'll come up here with second down for the Agates. Again, a handoff here to Christensen, finding the going difficult.
When you see that play, Reggie takes a hit at the ankles, drop down to his knees. Before the knee even hits, he's back up on his feet and assists in the tackle. Pretty good ball playing.
Pretty good ball player. Toss to Christensen, finds a crease, and a first down here for the Agates. Second series of this game, one for each team. Broncos leading 8-0. Full back up the middle. Gain of about 4 yards for the Agates. Deep eye Christensen and the pitch, and he fumbles it. And Broncos say they've got it, and the referees agree. So a big turnover early in this football game after taking the early lead. A chance for the Broncos to possibly go up 2 scores. Headland on the jet sweep. Pretty good job by the Agates shutting that down. They were ready for it. Second, about 14 yards coming up for the Falls. And now they put the ball on the ground, and the Agates recover.
Now, despite all the bad field conditions, I think we only fumbled the ball one time. Tyler Spry and Derek Clark, heck of a job with the quarterback center exchange.
It's probably that rubber football you used.
Yes.
Trap up the middle, and the Broncos play it very well. Wes Olson in on the tackle along with Ruport. Seems like this is a common thread for some of our games that we've been watching here on Bronco Classics, the wet, sloppy conditions.
Well,
Christensen fakes the reverse. And pretty good job by Zach Sears and Dean Kukon on the far side of the field.
that's one thing about when you get into October. You can expect this type of weather.
Up here all the time,
Yes.
sure. At least one game.
So third and long. Better than 10 here for the Agates. Little play action pass. Well overthrown, and so a punting situation for Two Harbors.
You put together a real nice defensive backfield here.
Yes.
A lot of speed.
And the Agates looked like they were going to possibly come with their quick kick formation there and fumbled the football. And the Broncos again with great field position.
Very poor decision on their part to go for it on this area of the field. You're just asking for trouble. And they got it.
And they got it.
So the Broncos first and 10 here, middle of the first quarter, leading 8-0. How about a quarterback sneak, and how about maybe about 13 yards? How about?
You know, when you run that quarterback sneak, you're amazed at how many they just break clean. You know, and 4 long runs like that. Tyler Kostyuk was kind of, in terms of historical quarterbacks, underestimated. He was a very good athlete.
Yes. Just think in this game, we ran 16 quarterback sneaks. That's
Reggie
incredible,
Gill.
isn't it?
Yeah, try to explain that to the guys today. It's
Second and about 6 for the Falls. As the numbers become more and more difficult to read. Another quarterback sneak. With that jet motion, everybody's watching 22.
oh, and Reggie Gilo in the backfield. Somebody's got to keep an eye on him. He carried the ball 36 times in this game.
Third and a couple of yards for the Falls. Just hung on to that enough, and Reggie finds some hole, turning back to the inside, and a first down for the Broncos. Getting into a little bit better field conditions, you can see how poor the field conditions there at about the 30-yard line. Gilo tries to find some room off tackle. Very short gain for the Falls. Here comes the crisscross, and Headland found the going a little tougher this time. Scored the first time he ran that, but turns it up, gets a couple out of it, which was something that Jordan got much, much better at, following those blockers and finding his way. So third and about 6 for the Falls. A pass. Ooh. And intercepted by the Agates, so a turnover for the Falls. Back-to-back possessions, actually.
Again, our defense played outstanding.
You have a lot of confidence in your defense. That's why you were able to throw that pass to begin with. It's as good. It's a real good punt down there.
Great defense, keep them in a long field.
Yeah.
Christensen with the toss and tries to cut back, but very difficult in these conditions.
Barely made it out.
Picked up a few yards there. Joe Veter in on the tackle.
Actually, Two Harbors had a huge team.
They did it. Their line was very, very big that year. Trying to get the Broncos to jump offside with a long count here. And they did come with the reverse and run down nicely from behind there.
Ty Boyle.
By number 7, he got right in the old hip pocket.
Yeah.
Just like you're supposed to. And he runs it right down. So a punting situation here for the Agates. Nearing the end of the first quarter here, Broncos up 8-0. I don't know how that ball skidded that far, but it should have splotted down. That should have been the end of it. But Nick Ruport back to pick up that punt, and here's the first play of the second quarter now. Hand off to
Watch
Headland.
this run. This is tremendous on a wet field.
Put that foot in the ground, cut. Back to the outside.
Yeah, I remember that play now. That was a great run.
And the belly back to avoid the tackle in the backfield.
Yes.
Enough to get back to give himself some room.
Well, to be able to keep his feet making that cut.
So better than 20 yards on that play for the Falls and into Agate territory. Reggie off tackle. Behind Rory Hendrickson and Tyler Spry on the left-hand side, along with Wes Olson. Quarterback sneak that'll pick up 6 or 7 on the first down. Headland again in motion. Reggie off the near side, breaks a couple tackles. Not a strange occurrence for number 44. And a good gain. Timmy Muir and Dean Kukon, the wings on the far side, the split end on the far side. Another quarterback sneak. Another 4 or 5 yards, not too bad.
Yeah, Timmy Muir, I remember him. Great hands, a great end, and played real good defense. Dean Keecook spent enough time in that weight room. That's where he became his athlete at. It was
again a handoff to Gilo on the near side. You can see the wind if you look down at the capes down on the sideline. How hard the wind is blowing in this game, along with the rain and the mud and everything else.
I think in all my years of coaching, this is the most saturated this field has ever been. Water standing all over.
Yeah. I would say last year's got very close to this, but it was not, it wasn't like this.
In 1965, it got so bad that we played the championship game down in Greenway instead of on our own field, and lost.
And Butch told me to never, ever give up the home field advantage.
Again.
Ever.
That's correct, and I never did.
No, and there's no way that, well.
And that's exactly the game he talked about, Joe.
I know it.
So the Broncos
had nightmares of that for a while.
Into the red zone here and give it out to Gilo on the pitch, and wisely taking with that sore ankle, taking it out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Coach wants a timeout. What's he got up his sleeve, George? I wonder. Something. Oh, just give it to 44 again. Into the end zone. Breaks a tackle. I don't think he drew it up quite that way, but I think that's what he had in mind.
You know, he's got 3 running backs here, and number 44 carries 36 times.
On a bad ankle. What were we
on a
thinking?
bad ankle.
It doesn't look like it, does it?
And a quarterback sneak 16 times.
16 times for 73 yards.
Yes.
And the 2-point conversion pass to Wes Olson is not completed. And so the Broncos lead it 14-0, as you saw on the scoreboard, the old scoreboard. Look at that field.
Oh.
Number 67, awfully clean jersey there for Tanner Mueller. Number 34, Larry Shirk at the top of the screen. A couple of the boys who have clean jerseys who haven't got a chance to play too much in this game. Good kickoff here by Kukon. And poor field position again for the Agates.
Look
at the sliding.
See, Peralt got pushed down along the ground because he didn't get underneath him.
Legs flat out, sliding in the mud.
He didn't log roll.
He did.
Good gain on first down there for the Agates. 2nd and 5.
That looks a little bit like rugby.
But old Darryl doesn't make that mistake the second time.
No, he doesn't. His head's down there nice and low, isn't it?
So 3rd and about 4 yards here for 2 Harbors, as they put Christensen back as the tailback. And Reggie Gilo and Olson there on the tackle to keep him just short. And 4th and about a half a yard here. Somebody's saying watch out for the quarterback sneak. I'm not sure why. Ooh!
Something moved.
Near side tackle.
That was a blessing for them. Had they gone for it and not made it,
Yeah,
it'd have been a worse shape.
that's one way to think about it.
You did him a favor, Stuart.
And the Broncos, with nobody back to return it, decide that that's the safer way to play it. I think still like that call.
Yeah.
16 years later, still like that call. So the Broncos up 14-0. Midway through the second quarter. Gilo off tackle for about 5. Behind Joe Veeder, Ty Boyle, Timmy Meir.
You can see Ty Boyle really starting to come in his own now.
Yes.
There's a lot of confidence at this point
There is.
for him.
Yeah.
Quarterback sneak, come up, a couple yards short of the first down.
Tyler got 4.6 yards a carry, and Reggie got 4.3. So, you know.
Coach should have called it more the other way, I
I
guess.
tell you, 75 quarterback sneaks.
Reggie just enough for the first down.
16, I'm sure, is the most quarterback sneaks ever in a game.
Could very well be.
Oh, I don't know. I saw you throw 5 or 6 in a row once.
True, but not. And 16 for a game is a lot.
Oh, I know.
Gilo with a good burst of speed off the near side. A few of his over 5,000 career rushing yards there.
The leading Bronco rusher in history.
Yeah. Ooh.
And just think, he did not play fullback as a ball carrier as a freshman.
That's
Which
right.
is only 3 years, really.
Oh, and on top of that, it wasn't that he was such a fantastic ball carrier, he was, but look at everything else he could do.
Mm-hmm.
Kick. Yeah. Play linebacker. Little toss.
On the kickoff team, I think Reggie was probably the first person down every time to make the tackle.
I was calling the game when he was a freshman and went down and kicked, and oh, that was kind of cool for a freshman. He did it all the time.
Yep.
Coach called another timeout. What's he got up his sleeve this time? Oh, the old draw to 44. Come on, 44. I think enough for the first down.
44, did he not, did he borrow that number from Mike Manas?
Manasa had it. Yes, he did.
Couple of
Dowdy had
44s
it.
along the
44s.
way. Some good ones
Yeah.
for the Broncos. How about the number 44? Oh, look at the
Great
room
blocks.
he's got on this side. Broncos up 14-0 here, heading to the later stages of the second quarter. A little play action pass. Ooh. 17 seconds remaining, in case you didn't catch it, remaining in the second quarter, so maybe why Coach going to the air here. Oh, let's give it to 44.
Yeah,
Let's see
I
what
don't.
he can do.
It's just,
Down near the 15-yard line. And out of bounds to boot to save. I don't know if Coach has got a
Save the
timeout
time on
left
the
here.
clock.
Ooh. So let's try 3 points here. With that bad ankle.
That's the next year.
Is that next year? It's right. It is the
Yes.
next year. You're right. It's the 05 when we played Two Harbors again the next
Right.
year. The bad ankle. And unfortunately, no good.
well, that was a very interesting drive, though. There's no two ways about that. And it's kind of, you're seeing the journey for the rest of the game.
So a kneel down to end the first half. Again, Broncos up 14-0.
Notice, George, how clean our jerseys are at halftime.
It's
see
because
those
you
numbers?
haven't been running any.
Are you sure it's not the start of the game again, Coach? All the boys instructed to bring their backup jerseys that they
Oh, so
had
that's why
before,
you
and
put 'em
everybody
on.
got a fresh, clean jersey when they came out for the second half. Most of the players did. You can see the numbers are just a little bit different than they were at the start of the game. If you don't believe us, go back, rewind if you're watching on YouTube.
No, you can
Go back and look. You can tell those numbers are just a little different. Christensen in motion gets the handoff. Good start for the Agates in the start of the second half.
New uniforms. That gives it a little crispness in
Well,
your attitude.
they got something to dry their hands
Sure.
on.
For a little bit.
Get out
For a little bit, yes.
Fullback up the middle. Not much place to go there. Peralt and Gilo there. Joe Veter comes up off the bottom of the pile. So third and about 3.5 here for Two Harbors. Christensen finds the going much more difficult on this attempt. A couple plays after he got 5. So fourth and about 3. What will the Agates decide to do? Down 14-0. They're going to go for it. Or at least they lined up for it.
Quick
and there's
kick.
the quick kick, which I was no surprise to.
No.
I don't think to too many people that that's what they were going to do there. Looked a little scary though, like when they dropped that football. So first series of the third quarter here for the Broncos, leading 14-0. Kilo with a handful of yards. Near a first down here for the Broncos. Gilo following Kukan through the hole. Reggie's helmet, that big mud spot on the front. It just, third and short. Coach says, let's get to the outside, get a first down.
They let you get to the outside quite easily. So that your end's got to be really doing a good job sealing off, and your lead running back too.
That is correct.
Reggie with the ball in the wrong hand.
And the minute your interior lineman starts standing up, you know it's coming.
Well, you know, when you
Quarterback sneak.
and right now when you see your defensive line again, all helmets are real low at this point. So they learned a lesson from those first two series.
15 additional yards for the Broncos on the face mask. Yeah, shocking. Look at this quarterback sneak. How about for about 20? In a slide.
Yeah, that's
in the
one of
mud
those.
for
That's one of
Tyler
those,
Koscheck.
one of those 4.6 averages.
Yes.
So first down for the Broncos in the red zone. Looking to add to their 14-0 lead. Kilo able to get to the outside. Breaks a couple tackles, drags a bunch of guys inside the 5-yard line.
The blocking by the end and the wing is outstanding.
Outstanding.
First and goal for the Broncos.
That's Zach Sears. He's what would he have been? He's a junior that year?
Yep.
Yes.
Quarterback sneak. And a touchdown.
And a touchdown.
See, that's
For
what
Tyler
cut down his
Kosh?
average, see.
Yeah.
He hasn't said. You haven't said anything about Jordan Headland's 16.8 average in this game.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. You know, five carries for 16.
That's not too shabby. So 20-0, the Broncos leading, and now 2-point conversion. Yeah, let's go back to the...
I'm still getting over the
sneak?
16 sneaks.
Just comes up just short. He even called the 17th one there, or 18th one, because he had a 2-point conversion, I think, earlier.
That's right.
So a couple
correct.
that don't count into the stats necessarily.
No, did they not make an attempt to defend it? I mean, you had to know it was coming.
Well, what they were doing in their linemen were standing up, particularly the nose guard. And if your nose guard is standing up,
Oh, yeah,
and you can get them going back with the wedge, they got trouble.
Kukan with the kickoff here. And makes the tackle, I believe, as well on that play. So Broncos up 20-0 now. Two Harbor's offense that had been scoring quite well during the year. What's that, Stuart? What do you see?
You notice on that play they had an unbalanced line and they shifted over.
Let's go back. I want to make sure. Let's back this up. Let's see if that's really true. If it is unbalanced line here.
It looks like.
I think Coach is right. He was right at 6:30 in the morning that morning as well, as he thought,
Yes.
I'll wake Tim up. Oh no, Tim had been watching and had missed the... anyway, good story there about coaches watching tape and making sure they knew what was happening.
Boy, you can hide that other guy in there in that mud.
And here they are unbalanced again. Second down here for the Agates. Christensen trying to get to the outside, and I don't think so. I think Nick Rupert says, no, you're not getting around my corner out here. So 3rd and long coming up for the Agates.
Nick could put a twist to his tackles.
And the Broncos cover it pretty well. Keep the Agates short of the first down. Sears, Veeder coming off the bottom of the pile. 4th and about a yard.
Oh, yeah. Slip.
And Christensen got a little eager. So twice in this game they saved themselves
Yes, they have.
from going for it in their own territory, which is a Stuart Nordquist no-no. Can I say that?
Yes, you can. Anybody that goes for it down there in their territory, you're asking for trouble.
So the Broncos with great field position at their own 45-yard line to start this series, leading 20-0, and just past the midway point of the third quarter. That's Gilo, in case you can't tell, it's number 44 anymore, for a couple.
Now, you'll see by taking short, choppy steps how well our linemen are coming off the ball, and we're dominating the running game.
You mean our shoot drills, Stuart?
Yes.
Good cut by 44. And not getting knocked down either. Yeah. Go ahead, give me a bump out of bounds. 3rd and short here for the Falls, as you may have heard Mr. Bolstead say. The plant and turn up field, that was a lot of guys weren't able to do that in this game, but Reggie was able to do that, keeping that balance, keeping those feet underneath him.
And Jordan, too.
And Jordan. So first down for the Broncos. Tanner Mueller in the game now for the Broncos. At the was in the game the last couple plays. I was waiting for the right opportunity to say something. Now back out of the ball game is Tyler Spry back in the game. Ooh, that draw. They weren't surprised that time. They had that one. I'll blame it on my lineman. We didn't get blocked well enough, like we should have.
No, they made a good play.
They did.
So punting situation here for the Broncos. I think the first time in this game, right, that we punted, if I remember correctly.
Could be, yes.
Great coverage there on the punt.
Outstanding coverage.
And Reggie did the punting too?
Yes.
Drove the bus over too.
Did he?
Yeah,
That was nice of him.
He drove the bus as well.
Made the pizza after the game.
Yep. Fresh, of course, from scratch. So first down for the Agates. I want to say that's Christensen, but I'm not sure if it's number 26 anymore.
Yes, it is. That's Christensen.
Good game for the Agates on first down. I've got to say that a few times.
You can't recognize their numbers. They're clad in mud.
Second and about 4. A toss to Christensen. Not going to get to the outside. Wes Olson says, I'll run you down this time. Number 89.
I'm just wondering if Christensen didn't go play at UMD afterwards.
Could have.
Not for very long, though, as I recall.
No.
I think for 1 season. Maybe 2. Don't want to get quoted on that, though, but...
UMD and Two Harbors have they're really close.
Yes, they are.
First down for the Agates on that play. One of their 2 first downs in the whole game, George. As long as we're looking at that stat sheet. They only got 2 first downs the entire game. That was one of them. So think about how the Bronco defense played in this football game.
The interior, Spry and Peralt and Ty Boyle, they're outstanding. Nothing went up inside.
And the Broncos come up with a fumble recovery. Darryl Peralt, I believe, getting on that one. So here's the start of the 4th quarter. Broncos leading at 20-0. Jordan Headland going in motion again, only as a decoy.
Why not? You throw a little decoy.
Yeah. And a good quarterback sneak there for Koscheck. As the Broncos inside the 20-yard line now. Looking to add on to the lead. 4 more. We'll take it. Good job up front again. Of course, Derek Clark leading the way from the center position. Everybody had to be thinking he's gonna hand the ball off one of these times to 22.
You would figure he
But
would, yeah.
So third down coming up here for the Broncos after the quarterback sneak. Didn't go very far that time.
Yeah, it's still the safest play in football right there.
Yes, it is.
Wow, coach spread 2 receivers out to the far side of the field.
We're getting
On third down.
risque.
Turn it over to 44. See how you can grind those feet down. So 4th and a couple of yards coming up. Oh, did I get that? 1 play off, 3rd and 7. Coach Mr. Bolstead says. Down inside the 10-yard line here for the Falls.
The great ones make it look so easy.
Whenever we're in a hog formation, they got to respect Jet. Leaves the quarterback sneak in the middle and leaves off tackle 36.
Yep.
Quarterback sneak again, down near the 5-yard line, 6-yard line. Again, early 4th quarter here, Broncos leading 20-0 in this 2004 section semifinal game at Sports Stadium, the old dugouts at the Little League field.
I think Bardovich comes through on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penalty coming up here on the Falls. Well, if you weren't so darn mean to him all the time,
Yeah,
Stuart,
that's-
if you wouldn't be telling him how wrong he was.
Tim makes a good point there.
As you said, you got to help ref.
I understand.
Ooh. And now the nose guard just diving at the feet of Clark before he can even get down there to try to root him out of there. Timeout by the Agates.
Well, a good nose guard's got to be willing to eat dirt, and I mean eat it.
Eat
It's,
dirt, yes. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
You know, Jordan Headland, through his career, took some great hits, never fumbled.
Yeah. I believe delay a game coming up here on the Falls. So now outside the red zone here. Third down, fourth down, third down. Coach says we need to talk about it. Now we're ready. I'm sure of it. Might even got away with a 5-yarder there. Ty Boyle might have been a little early, but so the Broncos turn it over on downs after getting inside the 10-yard line, unfortunately. And an incomplete pass. Of course, down 20-0. The Agates had really no choice here but to go to the air, which was definitely not their forte. Joe Veter with a nice play there, apparently.
Yes.
Well, when your defensive ends play as well as they did, blowing things up, and then they can still make the tackle.
They really are playing well.
That's a good day. Oh, how about this, Wes Olson? Right in your hands. Oh, you gotta love it.
The big man.
The big man. So the Broncos right back in business inside the 10-yard line. Gilo down to the 5-yard line. Shaking the mud off Gilo after he got tackled on that last play. Oh, man. Turn it up, 44. And little hit for an exclamation mark.
Yes.
Why don't you go up and hit him? Not a good idea.
That was on Christensen.
Yeah. Oh, it was, huh?
Oh, yes.
See if the Broncos can get the 2-point conversion. 0 for 2 on their last 2 attempts. And Gilo's going to come up a little bit short.
See, if you play that back, I'll show you a play today. This is illegal to do something like this, but they did a lot of this during the game. Once Tyler Spry has handed off the football, he is no longer a threat of carrying the football. And their end repeatedly did this to us several times.
Kind of like they used to do to option quarterbacks.
Yes, correct.
Your end is to hit him no matter what.
Yep.
And they can't do that anymore either. Too many people were getting hurt.
Well, especially that one from behind. I mean, where
It should have been called a clip.
It should have been called a clip, yeah.
Because as Ringhofer correctly stated, it was from behind, right out in the open.
He was out of the play.
But somehow Bardovich missed that.
So Kukan getting ready to kick off for the 5th time in this game. Broncos up 26-0. And as I watch this, I'm like, geez, this would be illegal. This would also be illegal now. 7 guys on this one side of the kicker is illegal. You can only have 6 on one side of the kicker. So you'd have to go back and change that as well.
You don't change that. Guess who gets the tackle? Huh?
Yes,
44.
And he held them up so he could get more people.
Travis Netland also right there near the tackle, number 45 at the end of that play. Boys were thinking initially that might have been a little bit unbalanced, and it wasn't. Ty Boyle coming through. Second and long for Two Harbors. Christensen gets the toss. Not a lot doing there.
The defense was smothering. They were really good.
Yeah, it's...
And this is not a small team Two Harbors has.
Well, no, they had total yards. They had 30 carries for 57 yards. 30 plays for 57 yards. It's not a lot.
Well,
One for four in passing for half a yard.
2
5
yards.
tenths.
Yeah. 2 yards, that's what they got passing
2
in
yards.
the game. 55 rushing in this game, and like I said, 2 first downs. That's incredible against a team that was that could move the ball like they could. Here's Christensen. No, sir. Dean Kukan. So the Broncos turn over the Agates.
Dean could put together some pretty good games
Yes,
too.
he could. He was a good player. He
Oh,
does
he's
an excellent
strong.
job in this game of blocking. Just outstanding.
Now notice the hesitation by Koshik trying to go around that diving nose tackle.
Yeah, that nose guard, he's had a bad day.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe still has mud in his
He
teeth
does.
16 years later. Good job of avoiding the nose there, getting around, picking up a few, working the clock now here at the Falls. 26-0 the lead. Gilo to the far side of the field. I don't know if we ran over there very often this entire game. Seemed like everything was coming to the near side, so maybe coach could watch it really well from the sideline. I'm not sure. First down for the Broncos.
Possibility.
Possibility. As the Broncos, again, looking to run out the clock here, get a win here. Koshik on the delayed quarterback sneak. Picks up a few.
That's Derek Clark playing center, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Doing an outstanding job.
And the victory formation for the Broncos.
We had one fumble on an exchange. We had 0 between quarterback and center.
And the one interception in
Right.
the game, it was really quite the game as the Broncos, as you see, win 26-0. Rushing in the game, the Broncos 57 carries for 310 yards on worse than a muddy track, I would say. They'd have to call that. Average 5 yards per carry. Did not complete a pass in the game. Through 5 of them, did not complete a pass. But the Broncos 17 first downs. It wasn't big plays. It was just consistently getting enough to get that first down. And
Tim, they punted once for 27 yards.
Yeah.
So your offense got to be doing something when that happens. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You
Yeah.
already mentioned the Two Harbors ran 30 plays, 26 of them rushes for just 57 yards in the game. Think about it. If you go back to Headland's touchdown run, he had more yards on that one play than Two Harbors had in the entire game.
Right.
And they really, sometimes when teams have low yardage nights, it's because you get a bad snap or, you get the quarterback tosses one and it goes back 15 yards or something. There were no plays like that. They just could not consistently move the football, and the Broncos played one of the best defensive games against a team, like I said, that came in very highly rated, moving the ball against teams, but the Broncos shut them out, beat them 26-0, and it was a very decisive victory.
It was. I take a look at Tyler Kostrick running that offense, especially the way it was. It reminds me so much of Army's offense to this day. And where did Tyler go to school?
Yeah.
Afterwards, he left here. He went to West Point. And I keep on looking at that, and he always had that extra glimmer. And I believe he's still in the service. But he really did a job on this one. I mean, 16 quarterback sneaks for 73 yards. Stuart's right. I don't know has ever
actually
heard
2 more because of extra points that aren't in there. So it's really 18 quarterback sneaks.
Yeah.
Gilo, 36 carries for 153 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Headland, I don't even remember him getting the ball 5 times. I can only really think of 3 off the top of my head, but they were all pretty big ones. As we mentioned, 16.8 yards per carry, including the long touchdown run, but had 84 yards in this game, and the Broncos win 26-0. What I know, I let you guys always say what sticks out in your mind first. I'm gonna take it this time. The field. I remember stepping out onto the field in my shoes because I didn't wear boots because I knew I was going to be upstairs, and I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, I should have wore my boots because the mud came up almost to the laces." That's how far your foot, when your foot hit the ground, and I mean that was all it was. It wasn't like I was running anywhere. It was immediate. It was immediate mud. It was the conditions were horrendous.
And that the Broncos rushed for 310 yards.
And the Broncos rushed for 310 yards.
Yeah.
What sticks out for you, George?
No, I this is a great rushing game, and not only, I mean, aside from the fact that defensively you had 5 or 6 or 7 guys each play that were making a contribution. Daryl Peralt getting a fumble, somebody else getting a key block, great blocking from your wingbacks. This was an all-around team effort, and I forgot how much fun this team was to watch. It was really a good game.
Stuart, how about for you?
Well, of all these things, I forgot to mention this, are the women who have done, in this case it was Christina Myers, but we have some great video technicians throughout these tapes, and it's because these people worked very hard. They came, they knew what they had to do, they knew when to start the camera, when to stop the camera. In this case, Christina Myers, but we had them before, and our statisticians, they've done an outstanding job. The thing I guess I still think back to this game, I remember waking up, and I remember, my God, I know they got the unbalanced line, and I'm sure we never practiced against it. And I'm waiting and waiting and waiting because I want to call Ringhoffer. But he's got little kids, and his wife probably wouldn't appreciate an early morning call at about 3:30. So I'm waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
Finally, I can't take it any longer.
6:30, the phone rings, and I'm like, somebody's dead.
Well,
somebody's got to be dead. And of course, the phone that I answered on didn't have caller ID or anything, and I pick up the phone like, hello? Hey, this is Stuart. They just ran unbalanced line at the end of the 3rd quarter. Did you see that play? And I'm like, I just got done watching that play. They were not unbalanced. He said, well, go back and watch it. And well, so I ran over to the VCR, and that was all VCR back then, no DVDs, and ran it back. Of course, now everybody watches it on the computer. And sure enough, went back, and it was pretty grainy. But he was right. There was an extra guy. There was an extra guy on one side of the ball.
You can make that adjustment on that unbalanced line fairly easy, but you have to pick it up right off the bat.
You have to recognize it, and Peralt did. And he got the people adjusted.
And make you adjusted, and then it's really the same thing. But they're going to go that unbalanced line 90% of the time, if not more, so you know where they're coming. But I mean, hey, unbalanced line can be very effective.
We never had another week of practice when I coached that we didn't run an unbalanced play.
I'll just bet.
Even if we knew that they didn't run unbalanced, there was an unbalanced play every week to make sure that
it's good practice.
Just so that the boys had it covered. So you always cover your bases and get things taken care of. That's what I learned about the 6:30 a.m. phone call.
Well, no, and the other thing I learned from this guy again is how to pick up that unbalanced line. And now you see it right now. At any game, it's instantaneous. You can see it. You can see it, but it takes.
You better recognize it right now.
You better recognize it right now. Yeah, you're going to pay.
Well, the Broncos, as we did in our last show, the last Bronco Classic game we did was a section semifinal game against Proctor, and the Broncos would go on to lose to Hermantown the following week in 02. Here in 04, the Broncos would be actually hosting the Virginia Blue Devils, and the Blue Devils would come up with a big win on Sports Stadium as they would defeat the Broncos 31-16, as I recall, and it was kind of a tough way for this team because this team had so much talent. It was tough to watch that team lose that ball game, and of course the following 2 weeks after this game, Virginia would go play East Grand Forks, who would end up winning the state championship that year, and they got beat 77-7. And I think I really wonder to this day how we would have competed against the state champion that year, where we would have stood, because I think we would have stood up maybe a little bit better, but East Grand Forks was loaded that year.
Yes, they were, and we would have stood up better, and I'm going to tell you why. If you go back and look at it, and I know, George, you were the spotter in this game, but times that we lost in the state, we were always close. We lost to Totino Grace, 29-28. Overtime to Northfield, who ended up being a runner-up, 19-18. Foley, which gets me bristling yet to this day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were in games in the state. We were right with these other teams. And we didn't win them, but we would have done better, I think, because I really think that we had great scouting, and we knew what plays are coming out of what formations. It takes a lot of time, but I think that's what's necessary to win in championship games, any game. You've got to know what the other team wants to do.
And no disrespect to anybody at Virginia about that. I just felt like this was that game losing to Virginia. That was a tough pill to swallow. We had beaten Virginia, I think 28-0 earlier in the year on our home field, and to lose 31-16 on our home field, that was a tough pill to swallow. And I think, well, next week we'll watch the 05 team a year after this, and I think that drove that team. Those kids that were coming back, that loss to Virginia in the section final really drove that team to some of the excellence that we saw the following year in 05, where the Bronco team was very much the favorite in every game that they played.
I was told at the end of the Virginia game, somebody saw me banging my forehead against the wall, and so that never should have happened that way, like Stuart said, and but that's the game of football. Like somebody says, it's an oblong ball, and you don't know where it's going to bounce.
Well, we were on an emotional high with Two Harbors because of all the press that they had during the year, and they were a very good football team. They ran over everybody, and we shut them right down. And then it goes back to something, George, that you said much earlier when we started this series. It's tough to beat a team the second time in a year. Doggone tough.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Final thoughts, guys? Anything?
Hey, what a great game. This was a great game. In fact, I was talking to Joe Boyle the other day about watching his sons against Hermantown or Proctor, and I told him what that was like, and Joe says, you won't believe that. My father came from Chicago in a wheelchair to watch his grandsons play football. He says, that game is the most important game to this family that these boys ever played. And I thought, you don't get responses like that. So they like these shows. These are great games. This was a fun game to watch.
You picked out some great games, Tim.
Yeah, well, there's lots to pick from. Next week, as I mentioned, we'll do the 05 season, and we'll do the regular season game. One of the few regular season games that we'll watch in this series, but we'll watch the Broncos take on Hermantown next week. And so hope you're appreciating and enjoying watching these games, and we'll talk to you next week on Bronco Classic Football.